Hi everyone, I am your current Miss Teen World America Wyoming 2019. I have decided to make this video on behalf of the other girls and the state directors and share my experience on the Miss World America pageant in nationals that took place at the beginning of October. So I arrived at the New Orleans Hotel and Casino Wednesday, and we didn't have orientation and check-in until the next day. So by the time Thursday came, everyone was in the main lobby. We were all waiting for our check-ins. They eventually sent us upstairs in a line of, I think there was a group of 10 of us, and no state directors were allowed up there. No adults other than the chaperones and the staff members were allowed to go up there. And when we got upstairs, it was in the suite area. They let us in one by one, and while we were waiting outside, we were waiting for a good few minutes before each girl would finish, because when we got inside, there was paperwork to sign. And I am a minor, as all of the other 32 other teen contestants were. So we needed an adult up there to sign other papers because we were minors. So luckily our state director got up there and I had my parents sign the paper. But the first thing that I kind of found weird and odd was no other adults were allowed to go up there. And I didn't know what I was signing. So me being a minor, I couldn't have signed that unless I had another parent, legal guardian, sign it along with me and read everything. After check-ins, we had orientation, which was at 12. Orientation, of course, ran late. They didn't start till 12:30. So everyone was waiting in the main lobby again for a good half an hour of talking, taking pictures, and then 12:30 came. We all got down into the area for orientation, and I still don't know who this person was who directed orientation. I saw him for a brief moment, but he was the one who essentially told everyone that we would only have one judge judging us for the interview part, which to me and the rest of the girls, we were all shocked and confused because that kind of sounded weird to all of us. One judge who we could only connect with one of them out of the 6 or 7 that were judging us on stage kind of seemed weird to all of us. And as soon as we got into our cubby section, whatever you want to call it, this room, the lights were very dim, which you look presentable, you're in a full set of hair and makeup and your interview outfit, and that's part of you being judged. They didn't judge you on that. My judge had a list of 5 questions printed out on a piece of paper. Every time I went to go talk, I got the judge that kept going, "Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting." And she kept talking through the entire time. We only had 5 minutes. I was trying to talk and think about everything I wanted to say in that 5 minutes, and she just kept talking in my interview. And she didn't write anything down at all. She just kept looking at me the entire 5 minutes. Friday morning, and we had the fitness competition, which for me was my favorite part because my platform's living healthy lifestyle and continuously working out every day. So for me, it was close to my heart. We had 5 minutes to do 5 different exercises, 1 minute each. I was told you were being scored on the amount of reps you did. And when I was doing those exercises, apparently it was judged on pace and how fast you could do that exercise, which for me, my form is the most important thing for me. my form has to be correct so I do not injure myself. It's not what I was expecting the fitness challenge to be at all. And it wasn't very organized either. They had us sit and we just went like a snake in a row. Next row, come on up. So it was the miss and the teen doing the fitness challenge at the same time. So whoever was just next in line got up there. That to me, if we could have done it in state order, the teen and then the miss, that would have probably worked out better too, because we as well went over the time. Right after the fitness competition, we had rehearsals, which was from 10 to 12. And we didn't get out of rehearsals until after 12 o'clock. And we only had 12 to 1 for our lunch break for really the entire day until we were done, which was later on at night, to have our free time, do whatever we needed to do, hair and makeup, etc. So we only had that hour to do whatever we needed to do and eat. So from 12 to 1, we had either the choice to go to the cafe with our meal ticket or the buffet. And since everyone only had that hour, we were all cramming to get food. And a lot of us were just stuck waiting and had to rush to go and eat. So we didn't really eat much the entire day we were there. For our meal tickets, we only got 2, I believe, the first day we got there. So if you didn't use your meal ticket already, you didn't have any food for the 12 to 1 lunch break. And the only time I heard from my chaperone was what to bring for the next day, for what we were rehearsing for, or what to bring for the show in a group text message. The only time I heard from her all weekend. I didn't really even see her either. So I don't know how you call that a chaperone when you're not really watching all the girls in your group, but okay. So after lunch on Friday, we had rehearsal from 1 to 3. We still didn't end up finishing what we had to get done, and half the time we were watching the miss rehearse, and all the teens were just sitting on the floor, not doing anything. So we could have had that time to go upstairs and do other things that were necessary for the show for Top Model later on. And we didn't do anything. We were just sitting there. Mind you, we had rehearsals the night before. After interview was done, we had them. We had rehearsals from 10 to 12, which they extended into our lunch break. And then we had rehearsals from 1 to 3, just sitting, not doing anything. We weren't allowed to leave. We had to sit there and watch while the Miss were rehearsing. So that was a complete wreck. And later on that night, when we had Top Model, one of the choreographers, whom, whenever I would ask a question, they'd always be like, oh, go ask the director. Oh, I don't know that question. Or just give me a nasty look. I'm simply asking a question because the funny thing is, the director was all the way up in the sound booth. So I didn't have any contact with him whatsoever. So my question was just never answered. And while the Miss were rehearsing, they also had to sit and just wait as well, because production was messing with the lights and the stage. So we all together were just sitting there not doing anything, which was a waste of time for both of us competing. And on top of that, later on that night for the Top Model Challenge, no one could find me. I was number 33. No one called my state title. No one called my name. And when I appeared, I was in backstage. I was where all the other girls were. So for some reason, they could not find me. So they seemed all flustered when I was like, I'm 33, I'm here. And at that point, they're like, we need you. I'm like, okay. So we were just lining up in order. And it's my turn to go on stage. The girl is out on stage in front of me, and I go to ask the choreographer a question. She looks at me. She just completely rolls her eyes. And the MCs ask me what my name is because they don't have a printed paper of all the girls' names in order of their state. So I had to, while he was writing it down in pencil, I was telling him my name, first and last name. I didn't even get half of my last name out before the choreographer pushed me on stage and said, "You have to go now." That, to me, I was being rushed. I was the last one to go. I was being rushed. So I go out on stage and I'm completely flustered because I'm like, what just happened? And so after I'm on stage, we come back out on stage and we're on the bleachers. And that was it. That was the end. So all of that worrying for absolutely nothing. It was just a big rush. I don't know why I was being rushed. I honestly don't even know what happened or why they didn't know where I was, because I was backstage the entire time and I didn't get my name called at all. So that for me was just, I was very upset after that because there was no need to push me out on stage, roll your eyes, just answer my question. If I have a question, everyone was new at this, just like I was. It was a national competition. So that for me was just a little weird and unprofessional in my eyes. On top of that, the choreographer didn't have a copy of our schedule. Our schedule was 13 pages and it was highlighted for when the teens had rehearsal and when the Miss and when both of us had rehearsal. She didn't have a copy of it. So she made the Miss and the teen come back later on that night to go and rehearse. And she made the Miss come back Saturday morning before the show, when all of them could be doing hair and makeup. So that for me, making your own schedule when everyone already had appointments for hair and makeup, again, that's just wrong. You have a set schedule for the set times for hair and makeup, and you have a set schedule for when you have rehearsals. So everything was all planned out in advance. And now it's Saturday morning, which I got my hair and my makeup done in the morning, and then later on that afternoon was the show. So the teens were going first for the show, and basically we got out, we did our opening number entrance, and then we got on stage in our evening gown. This is the part that was the most stressful to me the entire weekend. So we're on stage getting called top 25 and we're waiting in our heels. The entire show, probably a good 2 hours just standing on the risers. And then once everyone gets told who top 25 is, we go backstage, change into our fitness wear, and we sit. And they say the show, something to do with production, I'm assuming. The show's gonna start in a half an hour. So everyone has a little more time to get changed. So we have a good half an hour before the show would start up again. And everyone's in their fitness wear. And no one told us that we needed sports bras. Because we were told we would be having all our fitness wear with us. We just needed to bring our sneakers. So, myself, I didn't have a room key. I only had limited time to go back upstairs to my room. The hotel was a pretty big hotel and casino. And then, luckily, one of my parents came and they went upstairs, caught back quickly, got me a black sports bra. With that being said, it was not a one size fits all. It was small, medium, large. The top I had, there was no more smalls left, so I don't even know what size it was. And I was wearing black on black. So for me, I didn't really stand out when I was out doing my fitness walk. And again, here we go with the MC. So the first time, again, when I went out on stage, they didn't have my name for top model. Now we get into fitness, which is top 25. They call Wisconsin when I'm on stage. My back's to the audience. I turn around and I thought they called Wyoming and they didn't. So they made me go back again, get up on stage in front of everyone, the entire audience, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I messed up. So he calls Wyoming, and I feel like that kind of impacted the score with my judges. But then again, the judges for evening gown and whoever placed in top 25, they were either talking to the other judges, they were just staring at you, or they were on their phone showing other judges something on social media. There was no scorecards, there was no nothing. They weren't writing down anything. So that for me, they weren't scoring us at all, and they kind of knew who the winner was going to be. So that's kind of where I thought it doesn't matter anymore. The entire show just seemed a little phony to me ever since interview came and we only had one judge, which still doesn't make sense to me that day, because you get personable with one judge and the others don't know you. And my chaperone, I ended up calling her or texting her, and I said, I don't have any more meal tickets. So they only had a few left, and I texted my mom to go upstairs because it was 11 o'clock at night and I didn't want to go by myself. So I stayed in the room. She went upstairs and the chaperone gave the wrong room number. So a creepy old man answered the door, and just something was off. What I was told was he was looking for younger girls. So if I was to go upstairs by myself looking for the girl with the meal tickets, I would have been at the wrong door and I probably would have never been seen again. And so I called the chaperone and I said, you gave me and my mom the wrong room number. And we eventually got the right room number, but you're in Las Vegas. Human trafficking is the highest out of all the states in the United States. It is the highest for human trafficking. So I got a few more meal tickets, and then they ran out on the last day for everyone for meal tickets. So basically everyone had to pay out of pocket for something, or whatever they brought they could have ate. That was essentially how the meal tickets went. We had our bag, they gave us a bag when we went for check-ins on Thursday. They should have gave us, instead of 2 meal tickets for that day, they should have put all 9 of them, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, for those 3 days in the bag, instead of just handing us 2 and not giving us any more after that, and having to beg our chaperones and hunt them down for more meal tickets just to eat the entire weekend we were there. Lastly, for me, I know how well I placed for fitness, and my placing should have been at least top 10. That's what I see in my eyes and a few of my others as well, my peers. So that for me was a big shock that I didn't continue on to the fishbowl question, but I am grateful I made top 25 in that sense. And then we get to the custom made dresses. The custom made dresses were not custom made. The label on the back of the dress was sewn in. You could see the stitching on the back of the dress. They're also found online, the dresses. And the dress that was $200 we had to order our exact measurements for the dress in August. A week before we had to leave for Vegas, we didn't have a dress. So we had to text them and ask where our dress was, because my dress was nowhere. They never got my order. And so they said my measurements were a standard size. So before they would ship it out too, we had to pay an additional $20 for shipping and handling before they would even ship out the dress. Wouldn't that have been included in the $200 we paid? Just thinking. And then on top of that, when I get my dress in the box, it said shipping was only $14 on the outside of the box. So they were still making money anyway, an additional $6 or whatever it was on every gown. Anyway, just for shipping and handling. So on top of the $200, we had the shipping and handling fee, $20. And the top of the dress was way too big. The middle of the dress where my waist was had to be tightened, and it wasn't fit to how my body's made. So it was very uncomfortable and weird to me. And the straps were everything had to be up tighter, and it was very flowy, which it didn't fit me at all. So I had to get that altered literally the night before we stepped out on stage for the final show on Saturday, the opening number. One of the challenges that we had to do, was not optional, was the social media influencer challenge. We had to do the first 10 posts were mandatory. And it was all about promoting the judges. It was all about promoting everything about the pageant, except you're not promoting your Beauty with a Purpose project. So that to me was, okay, they don't really want to know a little more about you and what you're doing with your platform. They just want you to post and see how many likes, comments, shares you get, and how many points. The point system was a hot mess from day one. I posted day one challenge. I got the most amount of likes, comments on it. I got 0 points. 0. And they still never fixed it to this day. I emailed them, we were going back and forth. They were saying something how my account on Instagram, or the post, was private. Instagram, you can only make the account public or private. So my post was not public or private, it was just a post. So and my Instagram account was on public, and it still is. So my guessing is either they think it's the wrong girl, or they totally did not even check into my posts, because I went back and forth with them at least 10 to 12 times for 1 week. So the point system was just a mess. And then my points kept going back, so I was losing points. And sometimes they went up, sometimes they went down, they were fluctuating. So I don't really know what happened with that either. The first 10 posts, we had to promote the judges. And who knows? Everyone knows when you enter a pageant, you do not know who the judges are. A lot of the girls got their dresses. They can get them from Paula Tu and Patrick, and they can obviously become closer to them since they're one of the judges and they got their dresses from them. So that to me was just, nowhere in the pageant world does anyone know who the judges are. That is unheard of. So just by promoting them as well, some of them were reposting their post on their Instagram story. Not all girls, it was some girls. And it was the same girls they were just reposting from. So that to me showed there was some type of connection, some favoritism there. And that was one of the challenges we had to do at a course of 2 weeks we had, or something like that. All in all, I did have an amazing experience with my group of supporters, my director, my mom, all the friends I made at that pageant. That was the most memorable thing at the end of the day. And my overall Miss World America experience was not the greatest, but at the end of the day, I did make new friends, which was very important to me. In pageantry, a sisterhood is just, as long as you have that behind your back, you're good. So this was just my experience overall, the pageant and at the national level. And I just want to say thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, and share.